another week to look around at Hastings Tiger Sports. I'm your host, Greg Mays, and my co-host and show grand poobah, little brother, Trent Mays. Trent, happy birthday to you. How's birthday week been?
Just another day, buddy.
I'm sorry that the Tiger boys couldn't break the Trent Mays curse yesterday. We still
Oh,
only have one win on your birthday.
there's a Trend Maze curse. Okay, or okay.
I mean, what are you? You're like 67 years old now, and we've only won one game on your birthday.
Well, check that, buddy. I'm not as old as you. That if
Uh,
I'm, what'd you say? If I'm 67, that means you're pushing 70. So just FYI.
all right, I'll do the math later. Hey, let's head straight to Tiger Bowling, though. Did you go out west to Arapahoe yesterday?
Well, I have definite insight. You can hear me, right?
I can hear you.
Okay, just
Can't you tell
checking.
I'm smiling?
Okay, so yeah, I have program insight as I get to go to every Tiger bowling event. Oh yeah, that's nice, Tate. Yeah, you're a goofball city. So anyway, Tigers ventured out west to Arapahoe. Shout out to Lori, our bus driver, who did an amazing job navigating the wet conditions. And we found out that bus 38, there are a few leaks in that bus. So
Uh-oh.
it's what happens when it's raining that hard. So it was an interesting drive, and the Tiger boys won 20-1 over Arapahoe. They just seen them in the Tiger Invite the Saturday before. Bowling, I'll give a little recap on how they do that. Tiger girls squeaked out a 12-9 win. There's 21 points total up when you do duels. It's different when you have more teams than invites. The Tiger girls avenged 2 close losses to Arapahoe in the Tiger Invite, so that'll probably help their wild card points and bump them up because Arapahoe had a pretty good record overall. So
Awesome. Hey,
yeah, so
is that a straight Arapahoe Warrior team, or is that a
uh,
co-op?
I'm not sure. I think it's a straight Arapahoe Warrior. I sent producer Tate pictures. I don't know if we'll get to see those.
Yeah.
One is an awesome shot of their new lanes. They have 6 lanes at the Arapahoe Thunder Alley. Which
Well, that's what I was going to say. They've got a strong bowling culture in Arapahoe because of the Thunder Lanes. That's been an
yeah.
institution
Oh yeah,
there for a
definitely. It's
long
a really
time.
nice place. I don't know if producer Tate will throw those up, but so they bowl. You put 5. At least there was 5 bowlers bowling individual, and you bowl 2 individual rounds or 2 individual games, and then there's multiple versions of points. You're matched up with the person in your slot, like 5 and 4 are your top bowlers usually, and they match up with their top bowlers and such up to the top to the ones. So the Tiger boys dominated. They won 4 out of the 5 games in the first series, and then they won all 5 the second one. Maddox Warburton got him some huge points in the second slot. He bowled a 178 and a 158 respectively. And then our power two, the 2 guys that bring home the bacon for the Tigers, Ethan Crecelius and Jordan Norris, both seniors. Norris is bowling in the 5 slot. Ethan's bowling in the 4th slot. They both got huge wins in both their matchups. Ethan bowled
They're
a 196.
both in my English class.
Yeah.
So I've been working on their mental game.
They both bowled over 190. Ethan went the 196 in the first one. Jordan bowled a 192. Jordan had 4 straight strikes. Ethan had 5 during one of his series. So then you have to decide what you're going to do Baker wise. The Tigers were up 15-1 after the individual rounds, so they only had to bowl 1 Baker, and they won 124-97. So that got them the 20-1 win because they lost 1 in the individual series. So good job.
Tell us about the Baker rules. How's that work?
Baker rules: if it's tight, you go 3 out of 5. If it's like the girls were up 12-4 after their individuals, and we'll talk about their individuals in a second. Then you go right, then you just bowl one baker if it's a wide margin. I'm still learning all about this. Shout out to the Crecelius parents. They like to watch the show. They've been teaching me a little bowling lingo and knowledge behind the scenes. So the boys took care of business. They brought in so you can sub players. This is what I find interesting. You can sub at the end, and I learned this in Unified. We subbed quite a bit in our bakers, but they brought in a freshman, Lane Schaefer, one of our former downtown Panthers. Remember Schaefer? Daddy's
Sure.
there all the time. He's yelling, "Go Tigers!"
All right.
They brought him at the end, and that got him a huge win. In that second individual, he helped Dalton Newman get a score of 128 to win that first spot individual round in the second game. So the girls were up 12-4. Haley Caldwell, who is our fifth and probably our best bowler, she just had two battles. She lost two tight ones, 160 to 135 and 158 to 157. So she was just having two fights out there. I'll give credit to the Arapahoe girls. They know how to throw some strikes, and we saw them. But the girls getting a big win, getting a little revenge a little bit after the Tiger invite, picking up that win. That'll help. There's the girls team. Two of my students are at the far end. Shout out to Zoe and Marissa. And then Kaylin Schaefer comes in. They have a lot of seniors. She got a big win in the first. It was back and forth. They had a lot of back and forth duels going on in their individual two games. So
if I'm understanding this right, the girls build up a big lead in the individual matchups, and then Arapahoe scored better in the Baker, but we held them off.
Yeah, we held them off 12-9.
Okay.
They got 5 points in the Baker. They had 7 strikes in the Baker. They started out with 3 straight strikes. They were bringing it in the Baker. They won 200 to 133. And then Lizzie Baker took high honors overall. She bowled 200 in her first individual. So it was just fun to watch. I got some good bar food that day. So there's the boys team.
That's nice. Yeah.
I told them to look mean and serious because it was going on X. So some of them are squirrel or growly.
Is that Maddox there? I think I recognize Maddox.
Yeah, Maddox. He was on our Unified team. So Maddox is he bowled really well in the 2 slot for the Tigers. So it was fun. We're going to Caro on Tuesday, which I'm going to figure out why we're bowling GI Northwest and Caro. Because basically we're going to drive right by the GI lanes to drive to Caro. So
those GI lanes are in Islander territory, Trent.
Oh, I know, but
I'm sure those are on lockdown only.
Well, but they still have GI Northwest logo in the bowling alley.
Really?
But we think maybe the GI has a big invite or a duel or something. But it'll be interesting. I've never been to Caro. I've never been to Arapahoe. So
Caro's a nice little town.
Yeah, I got to give a shot. Yeah. So I'm listening to volleyball. There's a big match Thursday night. So I was the only one listening on my phone, so it's sort of hard with my fancy headset. So shout out to the Runza and Holdridge. Impressive. They did 14 orders in 15 minutes. I'm not sure they knew we were coming, but shout out to those folks there. I have a friend who has a brother that manages one of the Runzas in town. So he was going to send word to Runza Corporate because they did an awesome job. So, well,
nice. Hey, I got a bowling question for you. Maybe you aren't ready to answer this yet. So are some teams kind of just built for the individual part and some teams are built more for the Baker? I mean, do you get the feel that way? I mean, I suppose just good bowlers helps, right?
Yeah, I think so. Let me check on that. I can get back to you on that one. That was beyond me. I thought you were going to ask me what 4 strikes in a row means because I know what a turkey is. A turkey's 3 strikes.
Yeah, what do you call 4 strikes?
4 bagger.
A 4-bagger.
We learned that we learned that bowling on the Wii, so we had to look that up because I got the 4-bagger once, so I was quite proud of myself. So
in my day, we called that the basted turkey.
now that's a good one. I got to remember what a 5. I can't remember what a 5 is, but
well, you might
anyway,
have the Wii bowling back.
Anyway, Jordan Norris got the 4-bagger. He had 4 strikes in a row. He's the boys are very talented. They have some guys back and not making state, and I think that got to them a little bit. And they bowl with some swag. So
I like a team that's a little grumpy. You know that, Trent.
Yeah,
I like a team that's a little grumpy.
And my girls got in. Zoe and Marissa got to bowl in the Baker, so it was fun to see them. And they got some good food at the Thunder Lanes. So the Thunder Alley's got some good breadsticks.
You recommending the breadsticks?
Well, Coach Linden told me
to go with one thing. What am I going with at Thunder Lanes?
You're going with the wings, probably.
Oh, really?
Well, the wings and the pizza. Coach Linden said they have really good wings and pizza.
Well, you know me, I always lean towards pizza rather than wings.
Oh, yeah. I was going to get the pizza, but they didn't have it individual. And I didn't really want to order my own pizza because I thought that would be weird.
Yeah, probably too much.
Yeah.
Speaking of, I've managed to only go to Papa Ray's once a week here for the first 3 weeks of operation. So I'm showing great restraint, taking 6 days off, 1 day on. And it's a fabulous new era. Papa Ray's.
What does your kid think of Papa Ray's?
I don't even know if she knew we had it because I hid it from her so I'd have some for breakfast.
Okay. I haven't had Papa Ray's yet. So.
Oh, my goodness, Trent. Come on.
I've been a little busy.
All right. Well, let's move on to basketball. The Tigers were on the road last night at Elkhorn North. Took a couple losses. We knew the girls were in trouble. The Elkhorn North girls, I think they're the class of the state regardless of division. What are you thinking, Trent?
They took care of – they had the big matchup on Tuesday with, I'm thinking, Bell West.
Bell West. And they
were 1 versus 2.
Not a big matchup.
And North took care of business. Papa Mays was watching that on the computer, so I walked by that. And the Husker recruit, Brett Prince, is everything as advertised. So
yeah, I'll be glad when we can just get her in red and white and stop worrying about her at the high school level. Now,
but we do know that
Tate might know this. I think our win over Lincoln Northwest, or Air Park as it should be called, should save us from getting Elk North right away again in the Eastern Midlands Conference tournament.
Oh, that starts next Friday.
I'm hoping we get to the 7th seed and don't have to deal with them because that's the next game, right?
Yeah, that would be for the girls. The boys have a game. Well, the girls lost 67-25 thanks to producer Tate. The boys just found themselves in a good old-fashioned shootout with Elkhorn North. 3-pointers were flying left and right, and they were shooting threes from everywhere. Parker Ablett had a good game when I was watching.
Dang it, both teams shot really well. I would have thought that would have been to our advantage, that we would have had a little power inside to counteract. I haven't seen the game yet. I watched the film. I wonder if both teams weren't packing it in pretty good there, Trent.
Yeah,
man,
could have been,
a lot of 3-pointers.
They were shooting threes in the corner. They had one spot where they were just money from the corner. And it goes back to her freshman year. Speaking of Brett Prince, we were 2 seconds away. I know this is a sore spot from not even starting the dynasty. So
yeah, you gamble, and normally I don't. At the end of games, normally I played it safe. Normally I was hey, let's stay between them and the basket and make them hit a tough shot. I just felt like they were going to hit a tough shot, so I told Daisy Seeley, I said, Daisy, if you see a chance, go for it. Let's go for a steal. And she about got one, but then the ball escaped, and we ended up giving up a layup to get beat. A team that went on to win the state title, we could have knocked them out right there.
Well, I'm going to say that was a charge because I saw that clear from my where I am right now. I almost broke my lazy boy that day because I plopped off the edge of that pretty good because I was not happy.
Well,
but anyway,
But the boys Trent don't have a game coming up. They've got the game coming up.
Yeah,
It's
tonight.
Islander Day next week.
It's Islander Day tonight. It's tonight.
Tonight?
Yeah, at the
Oh,
College
man.
Arena, at the
I
Lynn
should have
Farrell
my
Arena.
Hawaiian gear on. What
I
time?
know. I left mine at school. I forgot all about it. It's been crazy couple days. Yeah, they play. They're going to play in the Holiday Hoops. Holiday Hoops Classic over at the College. 6:15 start with the Islanders, or as those of us in the 80s like to refer to them as the Swamp Rats. So
Exactly.
they will always be the Swamp Rats to me, even though it's probably not kosher to say that nowadays. They host Roncalli on Tuesday, and if producer Tate's right, they should be at home on Friday to start the Midlands. So, because they were second in wild card points, I don't know if
that should be a home game. Hey, any idea who's wearing what jerseys tonight over at the College? Because I've seen some pictures out of Grand Island, and those guys over there are wearing black road uniforms, and I'm not having anything to do with that.
I'm hoping.
So I hope Coach Danielson's calling them, tell them we got a problem with our whites, and we'll be the team wearing black because that's our color.
I'm hoping Coach D breaks out the vintage orange scripted Tiger unis from the 1980s. That's what I'm hoping. But the sad part is I think we sold all those off.
Yeah,
in the big
some
Tracy
of them are
Douglas
hanging in my room.
The big Tracy Douglas garage sale from a couple of years ago. Shout out to our AD. But it'll be interesting. You got there'll be double radio there, and it's just a fun time when the Islanders and Tigers get together. And then the Midlands. Trivia question of the day. How many teams from our conference were rated in the new top 10?
Probably 7.
6.
6.
Which is pretty impressive.
Are we one of them?
Yes, we are. We were 6.
All right.
I don't think I can name them all right now because I'm not sure who's in the Eastern Midlands. I got to look at the banners in the gym. And Coach D told me that could be changing. There could be a new school joining the Eastern Midlands as soon as next year.
Is it a team from Lincoln?
Yep, the Lincoln Pius Thunderbolts. He is thinking that's
possible?
Yeah, Coach D thinks it's possible. He's also, I don't know if he wanted me to say this, but we're going to anyway. But he thinks they're headed to an East Division and a West Division.
Maybe that helps them get in. But, the Eastern Midlands has turned down Scott before.
Yeah,
why would they turn down Scott and say yes to Pius?
I don't know. Pius has got to find a home, and he thinks that might be a landing spot more than the front or the Pioneer, Trailblazer.
Trailblazer, no way. No way the Trailblazer will take him.
Yeah.
The River City with Scott and all those private schools, that's a possible landing spot. But let me tell you this. Pius doesn't need a conference, Trent.
They could be Notre Dame.
In the old days, they were always independent, and it only caused them problems in one sport, football. And now football is not a problem because the state does your scheduling. I don't think Pius is worried about getting in a conference.
Okay. Well, I just thought that was curious. So the state, there's one conference in high school football. It is the State of Nebraska Conference.
And that's a problem. It's one reason high school football in Nebraska is not as good as it could be.
Yeah.
We've got to bring conferences back to football.
And that scheduling comes out soon for the next cycle. Yeah.
February.
They just announced the reclassification. Tigers were down to 8th in boys. It's always
we're in
fun.
B and we're playoff eligible, which is the big deal.
Yeah, it's always fun to see where the schools lined up. So St. Cecilia is the smallest school in C2, and they are with boys, with size-wise, they are the second smallest in D1 as far as boys.
Yeah.
But they
they could definitely be playing 8-man football.
Yeah, they chose to remain up, which I think is.
Yeah, honestly, and hat tip to Coach over there.
Coach Head.
Yeah, Coach Head, great guy, and he's done a great job because they are not overwhelming people with numbers anymore. The St. Cecilia of the early 2000s, they had a lot of kids, and they had a lot of kids who maybe should have been over at Hastings High, and they did a lot of great things. Of course, Coach Tesmer, great coach. I'm not saying anything there. But what Coach Head is doing now, just a great job. And for them to stay in 11-man, that's a big deal. I'm
And-
sure that's, I'm sure that was talked about a lot. What they
And
were gonna
doing it,
do.
math isn't my greatest thing. We both know that. If I remember right, 34 boys, and you're going to play 11-man football. That's pretty impressive. But the Tigers, they're like eighth now. They used to be fourth, and they're at one time they had the most boys in Class B. And
Well,
McCook,
2 years ago, we were ineligible for Class B.
yeah. So
playoffs.
McCook moves up to B. So I'll be curious to see how
They're coming back.
if we swing back to the Central District, or if we still stay in the West, so and be part of the Western Bus Tour, as they like to call it in Class B football. So
Well, we're still going to be making those trips whether we're in that district.
oh,
or
I
not.
know we're just a given, which we could spend an hour on that because I don't think that's fair. So
quick run through, Trent, what's going on elsewhere in wrestling.
Wrestling,
we're at the Flatwater Fracas.
Yeah, I don't know any.
2-3 yesterday.
Yeah.
Wins over Papillion South and
Gretna East.
Gretna East. Lost to Manhattan, Kansas, Trent. You know I like to beat Manhattan, Kansas.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
K-State.
But the Little Apples, or whatever they call them.
So does Manhattan, do they wear purple and silver?
I assume they do, and they're the Little Apples.
Little Apples, that's their
nickname. Let's just say they are. All right. And they're in the tournament portion of that today. They'll be placed. They won't be in the championship bracket, but they'll be getting after some teams today. Swimming had a nice week, a duel at Kearney, and then they're at Lincoln Southeast. Always a big meet. A lot of the top teams in the state there. So we'll kind of see how our top individuals rank there. Girls wrestling had a nice invitational. I want to say it was in Fairbury or something, and I didn't see any of our girls' names, the Hastings High girls, on the medalist list, but I'm going to check into that some more. Everybody's headed into Christmas now. I mean, I know there's still some competitions coming, especially the start of the Eastern Midlands tournament. But what do you think about winter sports and Christmas break, Trenner?
Well, Coach Sage, we didn't have the mandatory Christmas break back in the 80s. I think we practiced a couple times. I don't want him to get mad at me. And Coach Johnson, Dave Johnson's still around the high school, or awesome track coach. But there's a chance we might have practiced a few times. I think we had a moratorium. I don't remember.
There was no moratorium.
What?
We got Christmas Day off back in the old days.
Okay.
I think we used to practice Christmas Eve morning.
So the best part is when we get ready for the holiday tournament, we knew we weren't staying overnight, but he always told us to pack a bag because you just never knew, because we stayed overnight when he first got there. And that didn't go so well, so we stopped doing that. But it was, we ran around the hotel a little bit. Those are stories. But, the holiday and the one right by the river, whatever that is.
That's where we stayed in 1984, 85, too.
But he always told us to pack a bag. So I remember the one time we packed a bag, and it took us forever to get home. And we chose to come home. And we were playing board games the whole way home. That's what we did back then. So we were playing I think we're playing categories in the front of the bus. Shout out to one of those. But I want to give a shout out to the newest organization, the Unified Show Choir.
Yeah.
So they had an awesome performance. They were part of the vocal music with our Tiger Show Choir, which is going to be quite impressive. Those kids did an awesome job. I didn't get to see it. I watched them practice, and several faculty went across because they practiced in T3. They did an awesome job for their first performance. Shout out to Coach Yost. We're only the second school in the state to have show choir unified. They're going to go to GR Northwest to an actual show choir competition to compete. Mm-hmm. And then they're also going to compete in the Tiger Clash, or I'm not sure the fancy name they have for it, coming up in February.
That's a big event. Hey, Mr. Yost is getting calls from all over the state because people want to know how he's putting that together. I was in the office when Omaha West Side was calling and saying, hey, how do we get a unified choir going? And we hear the guy who knows how to do that is Mr. Yost in Hastings. So he's a cutting-edge guy. That's exciting.
So the funny part is we actually thought it was West Side that had it. So I'm
Oh.
curious who has it. Maybe they don't have it. Some
I
Omaha
heard
school.
Westside was calling us asking,
Okay, that's
hey, how do we
awesome.
do
And
this?
then we had the best pep rally last week. I think we need to get Yost to play the basketball games because that's all what the D1s have a DJ now. He could bring over his show choir sound system that literally blew the ears off. But that was the best pep rally we've had for a long time. I keep talking about that, but
things are looking up in Tigerville, Trent.
and look at that, we're gonna make it under 30 minutes. So you keep saying tight show.
Tight show, man. All right, you get last word.
So go Tigers. Get out Tuesday to watch the Tigers boys versus Roncalli. Get out, support them against the Swamp Rats tonight. And then hopefully they play Eastern Midlands at home. Go Tigers.
Beat GI.